You know, it's true, you can't get a 1911 with modern features like an accessory rail, a red dot, or ambidextrous controls. Oh wait, what's this? Ambidextrous controls, accessory rail, red dot? Maybe we got something here. Hey everybody, welcome to Go Big Bore or Go Home, where recoil is required. I'm your host Sean, and today we're going to be reviewing the Girsan MC1911 S-TV. So, we'll go over some of the details and features of this gun, we'll talk about how it performed, and we'll talk about, what our experience was overall. Very interesting. The idea behind this was, I recently did a video talking about 1911s because I felt certain people were giving them some kind of grief. And I'll say this right now, they're not for everybody. They really aren't. But you can get them with some updated features. And this is a gun that comes with kind of all the modern features you want right from the factory. The light, though, is something I added on for the video just to show that, you can have that kind of modern tactical style 1911. But let's get into what's in the gun, what you can expect from it, how it performed, and what the highs, the lows, and really the final word is on what we thought. Okay, so let's take a look at the Girsan MC1911 S-TV. Now, to show you exactly what this is essentially, your standard single stack 1911. It does come in 9mm and I believe in 10mm as well, but this one's in 45 ACP, comes with one 8-round magazine. These are made by ACT, I'm pretty sure, because I have ACT mags and they're identical. But just letting you know, one 8-round mag. Now I'm going to pull that off. One of the things that's kind of neat and drew me to this particular pistol for review is the fact that I've done some reviews on 1911s, and of course I'm going to do more. I'm a 1911 guy, admittedly, but this one came with all the features that most modern people want. It's got an ambi safety. It's got a red dot that comes directly on it. Like, this comes with it. This isn't just drilled for it. You get this little red dot, and it's from EAA, which is who distributes the Girsans in the United States, which is European American Armory. It also comes with an optics, accessory rail, which you can use for a laser, or like my preference would be a light. Now this model came with these nicer grips. I think they've gone to some different rubber grips that aren't quite as nice, but you can always upgrade grips. So it's got the front cocking serrations, the extended ambi safeties, it's got the galvanized hammer and trigger, it's got the beaver tail safety, so it's got a lot of the stuff that people want. This is, again, it's made by Girsan, which is in Turkey. It doesn't have an adjustable trigger, which I was a little surprised on. This you can take it or leave it, as far as whether or not you like it. Now, if you're a red dot guy, this is great. If you're not a red dot guy, but you want the option, they do actually give you the rear sight on a plate, so this can be swapped out. One final feature that I wanted to point out that I kind of appreciated with this gun is the mainspring housing. A lot of guns in this price point will use a plastic mainspring housing. They work just fine, but I have a personal dislike for plastic unless it's really necessary. In the mainspring housing, I just prefer metal. This does come with a metal mainspring housing, and it's nicely textured if you prefer that. I usually do, except on like my 460 Roland conversions, I like it smooth. But so it was kind of nice to get that as an additional feature. A couple things that I want to note as I was looking at the gun that I thought were kind of interesting. The first is, as you can see, it doesn't have a full-length guide rod. It's got the standard guide rod. It has a ambi safety here that goes into the grip. Now, the reason I point this out is that a lot of guns in this price point, and I'll show on a Citadel, they don't have this style of safety, which is more traditional. They have a different kind of like captive pin, and I'll kind of grab my Citadel here to show you guys what that looks like. If you can see here, this has got a captive pin on it, and that kind of keeps this in place. So I personally like this better because I find it actually stays in place better. Again, this is 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I don't know that I could really say that it's, optimal to have it that way. One of the other things I noticed, and I'm going to field strip, by the way, for people who will say, oh, you need a bushing wrench. Really? You need a bushing wrench? You do? Because watch this. Yeah. So get the plug out. And the gun's field stripped. One of the things I noticed is it has this frame cutout here. Now this is something that Colt started doing with the Delta Elite, and I think they do on several of their other 1911s, and Sig Sauer does too. This is supposed to combat frame cracking. Interesting to me, Rock Island Armory doesn't do this, nor does Springfield Armory, so this is kind of per manufacturer. I don't know if this is a good thing, bad thing, but I know what it's for, and it's just something I thought that was kind of interesting. Also, while I've got it up close, I'm not sure what this finish is. It's nice looking, it's this semi-gloss black coating, but it's definitely not Parkerization and it's not bluing, so I'm not sure if it's a Cerakote. I don't think it's a Cerakote, to be honest, but it's different. It's nice looking, it seems to be reasonably rugged, but just, again, pointing it out for anybody who's interested in the pistol. So let's talk a little bit about performance. I want to first talk about accuracy. Normally I would talk about reliability. There's a reason I'm not. We'll get to that in a minute. But the accuracy on this was actually very good. I enjoyed it. I averaged 3 1/16 inches, which is a little higher for me, but it's not bad. And this was at 11 yards or 10 meters standing with full metal jacket 230 grain ammo. Weight on this is 42.35 ounces. Trigger pull came in at 5 pounds, 9.7 ounces, which was a little heavy for my taste. I really think these should be about 4.5 pounds from the factory. I wanted to talk a little bit about this red dot. It adjusts here and on top, but you do have to pull the screws here. You have to loosen them to properly adjust it. Now, it's turned on here with a button. You have to hold it down for about 2 seconds, and then your red dot will appear. It's a little red dot. One thing I did notice is that if the gun is fairly well lubed, it does get some spray on the back here. I don't know if that's something, I'm fairly new to red dots. I don't know if that's a big issue, but it is something I noticed, and it's a little bit of a nuisance. So, but other than that, the balance is good, the fit and finish feels all right. Okay, so reliability was a bit of an issue, and I felt it necessary to kind of talk about it away from the table. First time out, I put 200 rounds downrange with this, and I had a total of 41 malfunctions, all failure to feed, and that gives us a reliability rating of 79.5%, which is just awful. I was floored at how bad that was. I immediately came back, and because Girsan is distributed through EAA, which is European American Armory, I reached out to them and I said, hey, tell me what the process is. Now, the thing is, and I'm not trying to pass judgment, but this is just how EAA works. You have to pay to ship it to them. They don't give you an RMA number, which that made me uncomfortable. I didn't like the idea that they weren't tracking this. So I sent it in, and then they worked on it, and then to get it back, you have to pay 20 bucks to ship it back. I'll be honest, I kind of told them, I was like, okay, if I got to pay to ship it back too, then just send it to me and I'm just going to sell it. I'm not even going to bother testing it out again, because I don't like that at all. They were kind enough after I complained to just waive that 20 bucks. But just so people know, you got to pay to ship it. I recommend going through your FFL because you can do it cheaper that way, and then you got to pay to ship it back. So I gathered up about, I want to say a little over 100 rounds of ammunition, went down to the range, and well, how'd that go? So yeah, I put 115 rounds down range this time. Didn't have any CCI Blazer Brass. It was Cellier and Balat and PMC Bronze. I'll put the number here at the bottom for you guys. but I experienced a total of 23 malfunctions, and I'll show some footage here as I talk, some closer examinations so you can see what happened. But this time I had failure to feed, I had failure to extract, and I had the gun locking open erroneously. So again, I called EAA, and I said, look, it's still malfunctioning. We went from a 20.5% malfunction rate to a 20% malfunction rate. That's not really an improvement. Do I need to pay to ship it back? At this point, though, they were like, no, we'll pay to ship it. So I give them a lot of credit. You know, if they had to pay to ship the same gun back twice, they were going to cover it. And I was very eager to see what happened. One thing I did let them know is that I used the stock magazine, ACT magazines, Wilson Combat 47D, Wilson Combat 920 series, Springfield Armory, and Ship McCormick magazines. The Springfield Armory were the 7-round box magazines. Sent it back, and how to do when it came back. I gathered up 150 rounds. How to do? Well, a lot better the second time around. Second time around, we had a total of 10 malfunctions in 150 rounds, which is a failure rate of 6.7%. Personally, I felt that was 100% acceptable for going to the range. It made me a little nervous for where I would be if I'm defending myself. We had 10 malfunctions, 3 were failure to feeds, which this is a good thing. You know, we started with 41 malfunctions out of 200 rounds, down to 5 out of 115, and now out of 150 we went down to 3. Now those 3 represent about a 2% malfunction rate. The other 7 malfunctions were the slide locking open erroneously. In other words, I would shoot it, and even though my thumbs were away from the slide lock, it would just lock open. Good thing about that is you can just hit the slide lock down, and again, the gun's ready to go. So I think that's something that could easily be tuned out of the gun with a little patience and talking to a gunsmith who's familiar with 1911. So I'm kind of willing to let those slide a little bit. And one thing I do want to say, I experienced no malfunctions on the last go around with the stock magazine. The ACT magazine, which is very similar, I think it's the same stuff, same brand, it had an issue, but no malfunctions with the stock magazine. So that's a good sign. I also had no malfunctions with the Springfield Armory 7-round magazine as well. I did notice there's a little chip in the finish on the barrel here, just from normal wear and tear firing, which is a little disappointing. The 45 ACP really seems to knock this thing loose. The plate itself, once I blue Loctited it down, didn't move. But I've had this shake loose on me. When I took it out the first time, I blue Loctited it down. I took it out and shot it, and it was loose again. And when it got loose again, so I had to blue Loctite it down. So I don't know if the 45 ACP is gonna shake this loose. I haven't had the problem with the Smith & Wesson M&P's 10mm red dot. So I don't know if it's this gun, this platform, these screws, this caliber. I don't know, but I had a few issues there. So there you have it, guys, our review of the MC1911 S-TV from Girsan. So let's talk the hits. Absolutely, the first thing I'm going to point out is the features. This thing comes with everything. Literally, you've got the accessory rail, front cocking serrations, ambidextrous safety. You've got the beaver tail, the skeletonized hammer and trigger, although the trigger is not adjustable. It's the only thing that's missing. And it even comes with a red dot with a slide, slide with a plate, and you can put the stock rear sight back on if you don't want the red dot. That's pretty awesome. Another one, accuracy. This thing is very accurate. I was really impressed with it. I think with a little practice, this is one of those guns that will be just as accurate as you can be. And finally, price point. I mean, you seriously gotta love the fact that this is a sub 600 1911. The misses. First one and most notable is reliability. For me, is hit and miss. It may have only had 3 failure to feeds the last time it came back, but it did lock open 7 times, which is something I'd have to iron out. I do think that if, with a little tinkering with a good 1911 gunsmith, you could get these things worked out, but I was really disappointed. And I was disappointed by the fact that I had to send it back twice. I just don't know what to tell you guys there. You might get one from some of the people I've talked to that's a gem right out of the box, or you might be like me, where you get one where it might have to go back to the factory. Number 2, customer service support is not what I would prefer. I don't want to insult the company, but I don't like that I had to pay to ship it back the first time, and the standard procedure is to pay to ship it to me after it's fixed. I'm sorry, but if you sell me something and it doesn't work properly, that should be on you. I didn't, bargain for a firearm that malfunctioned like that. And finally, there is other stuff in this price point that may have a few less features, but can outdo it in reliability. And so when you have stiff competition in this price point that's good competition for it, that makes this a little less appealing. Final shot. If it's me, honestly, I'd rather buy a Rock Island Armory or a Citadel. I just think there's better, more reliable options in this price point. They won't have all the features, but they'll go bang every time. So there you have it, guys. That's the word on the Girsan MC1911 S-TV. If you enjoyed the review, please like and subscribe for more content. If you didn't, I thank you very much for making it all the way to the end of the video. We really appreciate the opportunity. And as always, go big bore or go home.